What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Just Cuz TV channel. This week, we have our Week 10 Pick'ems and Survivor picks. You will notice that, unfortunately, Steve is no longer going to be joining us in our NFL videos. So we have a special guest joining us, one of the best football minds that I've ever come across literally in my entire life. You got my good buddy, Jeff. What's going on, man?
How's it going?
Welcome to the channel, man. First video. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm feeling like Tua starting his first game the other week, but I think I can handle it.
Yeah, first round rookie in the draft here. Jeff looks good on paper. We'll see.
Yeah, Steve was just playing the Fitzmagic role, and it's time for a replacement.
And as always, I am joined by my special guest, Dr. West. What's going on, man?
What's going on, my stepson Anthony?
Oh yeah, we're not within the female gender anymore this week. I like that.
Yeah, what the fuck though? Greatest football minds ever. Like what?
Hey, that's not a shot at you, man. I just call it like I see it.
Wow.
I was almost blushing over here. It was the best introduction
Wow,
I think
I've
I've
only
ever
been
had.
here for 9 weeks.
Yeah, I'm building Jeff up just so when we beat him in the picks, he crashes down hard. That's the goal here. He's in there in his loft. He's ready to go. He's on the top floor.
That's
no
right.
longer. Let's go.
One of us is in first place, and the other one is the greatest football mind to grace the earth. So I don't understand.
It's touche. Well played. I do apologize, Dr. West. You're the greatest football mind I've ever met in my life.
Just don't even bother anymore.
Speaking of being in first, we got to get to the results from last week. You'll notice that we did wipe out Steve's scores. Jeff's going to be joining us for the second half of the year here. So, Dr. West, you did beat me through week 9, but I'm a second half team. I want to point that out. I'm looking for my comeback here. I'm ready to go in the second half of the year.
Should we spot him like 81 points to kind of be in the middle, and then
you know what?
See,
I don't know.
We go?
I think we kind of like do it like MLB in the 80s. We'll have a first half of the season champion, second half of the season champion, and then in the playoffs maybe we can have those two meet. Something like that.
Let's do it.
You're the greatest football mind that's ever graced the earth. I think you should at least get in second place to start the season.
Somewhere to climb back up from. You know what? We should give him 70 points and see where he comes back from there.
I think that's fair.
But we're going to get into it. We have, Dr. Wells, we've tied over the past 2 weeks here with 18 total. We got to do something about that this week. We have a third member joining us again. If you guys are ready, let's hop into these games. Some fun games this week. If you guys are ready
let me give my giveaway here.
Oh, yes. I do apologize.
Justin Herbert rookie card. Nobody has beat me in the comments to win this. I already sent out the Joe Burrow rookie card. I'm missing that in my collection now, but somebody can win the Herbert card if they challenge me in the comments and beat me.
Yep. So remember, guys, like the video. Please consider subscribing. Leave your picks and a comment on the video. If you beat Dr. West, you get a Justin Herbert rookie card. That easy, honestly. It's happened.
Upset that I wasn't in the Joe Burrow competition.
Oh, you just
Watch
missed
the videos. You could have been.
You're right.
Yeah. Gotta leave a comment.
I'm the greatest football. Listen, I'm the greatest football mind that walks the earth. I thought it would be unfair if I participated in the comments. I wanted to give our viewers a chance to win.
That's true.
Didn't want to deplete Wes's stash of rookie cards this soon in the season.
Yeah. I guess we could. I guess I could find a different card for you to win, Jeff, if you beat me. But you're a Bengals fan too, right? So
absolutely.
Because I do have a Miles Sanders rookie card that has a patch of his jersey in it that I'm looking at.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
But,
maybe that's a little side action for the second half.
Story.
Yeah. If you guys are ready, we don't have a big 3 or anything like that this week. We figure, we're going to throw Jeff right to the ocean here without a life jacket. We're going to get into the games and all that good stuff. Just as a reminder, y'all, these odds and lines that you are seeing right now are brought to you by the DK Sportsbook, and they are obviously subject to change as the week goes on. We say it every single week. It's Tuesday. The games are, they start on Sunday. You got plenty of time to get your bets in, all that good stuff. And all of our picks, they are going to be straight up. There are plenty of other odd shows and all that good stuff out there. We don't want to mess with all that. We just want to give you our picks and our thoughts on the game. And the buys this week are the Jets, Chiefs, Cowboys, and Falcons. Oh, hey, hang on, guys. The Jets. They just lost to the bye week. Did you see that? Just came across the news wire. The Jets have lost 24-6 to the bye week. They're now 0-10. Absolutely horrible. But we don't talk about the Jets. They're on a bye week. We got our Thursday night matchup. We got the 5-3 Indianapolis Colts traveling to the 6-2 Tennessee Titans on Thursday night. Tennessee only a 2-point home favorite here. But I don't know about you guys. I cannot figure out either of these two teams. I don't know who they are. Indy, they scored 41 points against the Lions 2 weeks ago, but then they were only able to put up 10 points against the Ravens at home. While the Titans' offense has been put on pause, they only scored 24 against the Steelers in a loss, 20 against the Bengals in a loss. Jeff, you'll like that. And then they barely squeaked by the Bears with 24 points. I feel like they're lucky they're in the AFC South, which is horrible. So, Jeff, as the newcomer here, how do you see this game going?
I even though Tennessee's offense has kind of struggled, I still think that they have the solid advantage here. You have Derrick Henry, who, let's be honest, just a physical freak, a guy that big that can run that fast, that can break tackles. What do you have on the Indianapolis side offensively? You've got an aging Phillip Rivers that looked awful last week. And yeah, they got off to a hot start, but that schedule was so soft to begin with. Now they've got problems at running back. Jonathan Taylor fumbled again. Is it going to be the Jordan Wilkins show? Who really knows?
Nyheim Hines is there too.
Yeah. Nyheim Hines, yeah, great. A third down back. But again, it's and then who's their receiver? I mean, T.Y. Hilton looks like he should be, I don't know, off on the farm, retired somewhere. Yeah, he's just looking bad. Now, granted, you've got Tannehill. I don't know how many passes he had up until the fourth quarter, something like 10 maybe. That offense is stuck in neutral. That defense does just enough, though. And with the game being at Tennessee and, Frank Reich, he's trying to do his best, but he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Phillip Rivers, over the hill. T.Y. Hilton, over the hill. They've got some tight ends there, but at the end of the day, do you feel that there's enough on offense to overcome that Tennessee D? Now, Tennessee defense, not a juggernaut like we expected. But they still have enough weapons there that I feel like offensively that they're going to be able to put up more points than Indianapolis is going to be able to keep up with. A.J. Brown, superstar. Derrick Henry, superstar. Corey Davis was non-existent last week, but, with teams focusing so much on A.J. Brown, if he's able to get going like he has been the past few weeks, I just don't see how Indianapolis can come back.
Yeah, Dr. West, I know you typically disagree with Steve here. Are you going to disagree with Jeff?
No, I'm loving what Jeff is saying, actually. The Titans, I think that is a lock. -2 for the Titans. They love to win close games. Like he said, I think the Colts are a fraudulent team. I think that they are not as good as they have been hyped up to be. And I expect this will be a low-scoring game, like a Thursday night, run out their clock. Both teams playing good defense like you see a lot on Thursday nights. And I just think that when the rubber meets the road, you can't stop Derrick Henry. He's unstoppable. So give me the Titans, and I would lock them in at -2, and I would do the under and see what happens.
I love both of those points that you just mentioned. This -2. So we had the Ravens at the Colts last week, and I mentioned that the Ravens -2.5 was the easiest lock in the history of, sports betting. And what do you know? It came through. I think the Colts actually ended up getting to -1 in that game, or before the game or something like that, which is ridiculous. This is easy. This game's going to be so slow. Molasses slow. It's a Thursday night game. Rivers has 10 passing touchdowns all year to 7 interceptions, and Derrick Henry is second in the league in rushing. Lock in the -2 for Tennessee and the under in this game, something to the tune of like 30-14 maybe, or something like that. I could see this game getting to. Yeah. Indy cannot compete with Tennessee, in my opinion, offensively.
No, I think the Titans are the class of the AFC South. I mean, that's not saying a whole lot, but that they're the team I would pick to win the division.
Yeah, in a division that has like the Texans and Jaguars at this point.
Exactly. Although the Texans have been playing a little better, but still, I think Tennessee, when you look at them holistically, they have a much better roster from top to bottom.
Totally agree with that. Speaking of the Texans, though, let's hop over to our first Sunday game that we got. 2-6 Houston Texans traveling to the 5-3 Browns. The Browns roughly a field goal home favorite here. Pretty decent 52.5 over under. Houston's 2 wins so far this year have come against the 1-7 Jaguars, so there's not much home to write about here within Houston. Their offense, though, has picked up recently. They are averaging 27.5 points per game over their last 3. Well, get this, guys. The Browns just put Baker Mayfield on the COVID list due to contact tracing. He is eligible to come off that list later this week if he continues to test negative. They've also lost Beckham to an ACL injury. Nick Chubb is still on the IR. So, Dr. West, can the Browns get it done at home, or can Houston pull off the surprise win here?
Yeah, you make a good point about all the players that are out for the Browns. And I think at the beginning of the year, you probably would have taken the Texans in this game. And I'm going to take the Texans. I'm hoping that I'm wrong. You guys know that I bet the under on them this year. It's still 7.5. They have a long way to go to get there, but I do think that they're kind of getting things together, and they're coming into a Cleveland team that is a bit of a debacle right now, especially if Baker ends up missing time. I don't like Baker, but he's definitely better than the alternative. So I think that the Texans will win a close game.
Yeah, Jeff, as a Bengals fan, could you take the Browns here?
Absolutely. I'm so glad I finally get to disagree with Wes here. I'm with you. Baker Mayfield, probably the best option on the team, but let's not forget their backup is Case Keenum. He's had some success in other places, so it's not like he's just some 6th round or 7th round rookie like DiNucci in Dallas. This is a guy that's actually played well and has a little bit of a history. In fact, when Baker was struggling, there was some talk of going to Case because they thought he could maybe get them over the hump. They have a good defense. Their secondary is a little porous, and Houston may be able to exploit that. Fuller's looked great. So Brandon Cooks has become relevant since Bill O'Brien has left town. But they're dealing with some injuries as well. I know David Johnson left the game last week with was in the concussion protocol. I don't know what that's looking like this week, but if he misses, then we're talking about Duke Johnson and Deontay Foreman. I mean, that doesn't really scare anybody. That offensive line's still a mess. They have Laramie Tunsil and a bunch of guys. But ultimately, I think you bring up good points about Nick Chubb being out, but I think they still have enough going there to overcome that. Like I said, they've got Case Keenum, and their running game really hasn't missed a beat with Kareem Hunt filling in for Chubb. Now, if Chubb comes back, I think this is a blowout. So as much as it pains me to say it, as a diehard Bengals fan, I'm going Cleveland all the way here.
I'm kind of surprised, Jeff. I'm a little disappointed, honestly. For me, though, I don't have any statistical analysis when I make these picks for Houston. Duke Johnson revenge game, maybe. If you want to throw that out there, I feel like I blindly take the Texans every single week because I picked them to win this division. And what do you know? It's blown up in my face. I'm losing to Dr. West in the pick'ems. I'm taking Houston. I think Cleveland is a bit of a disaster this week, and that's the only reason why I'm saying that. Like, Mayfield's going to have to miss practices because he's on this COVID list. They're missing Beckham, so I think the lack of reps maybe for Mayfield not getting into any rhythm. I honestly have no idea, guys. I'm taking Houston blindly here in the Duke Johnson revenge game. 3 touchdowns in relief of David Johnson, and I look forward to handing Jeff his first solo win here, Dr. West.
Listen, I think that you bring up good points, but I feel like the passing game has actually improved since Beckham's gone. I feel like there was a certain part of Baker Mayfield that felt like he had to throw the ball to Beckham so Beckham wouldn't throw a temper tantrum on the sideline. Now that's gone. He can look for the open targets. And let's not forget about the talent that they have in Jarvis Landry and 2 pretty good tight ends. So David Njoku, Austin Hooper, they've got weapons. And their offensive line's getting healthy. I think Cleveland's going to be a team that surprises in the second half.
Yeah, look at that game against the Bengals. After OBJ went out, he had a perfect game.
Yeah, literally perfect. Completed all his passes, 4 touchdowns. I'm telling you, they may have been a disaster to begin with, but there's something to be said about chemistry, and I think OBJ going out actually is a blessing in disguise. He's a talented guy, but that team, I just feel like Baker felt obligated to get him the ball, and it kind of clogged up that passing game.
Yeah, he's a drama queen.
Yeah, I mean, kind of seems like it.
Yeah. Speaking of clogged up passing games, we got the Washington Buckeyes, as we like to call them here on the channel, traveling to the Detroit Lions. No moneyline odds or over-unders were available for this game on DK Sportsbook yet. I couldn't figure out why, honestly. I didn't see any COVID stuff. I don't know if it still has to do with Stafford's weird COVID issues he had last week. But it just seems like Matt Patricia, he's got to be on the hot seat at this point after yet another non-existent offensive output in their 34-20 loss to the Vikings. Dalvin Cook's long touchdown run, they had 10 guys on the field. They don't know how many people they're supposed to have on defense. They have only scored above 23 points 2 times in the 8 games thus far they've played, and one of those was 34 points against the Jags. So that honestly does not count. We're trashing that. Washington, on the other hand, they still only sit in a game and a half roughly behind the Eagles, so they do still have a ton to play for here, despite them only scoring 153 total points on offense, the second fewest in the NFL to, you guessed it, the Jets. So, Jeff, do you think you'll be able to make it through this game without falling asleep?
Oh, yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, Kyle Allen's out, right? Like, he had a horrendous ankle injury, so who's starting? Alex Smith?
I believe so.
That's how is there an update on that?
That's who they brought in when he got injured, so I presume.
Right.
So.
I mean, Dwayne Haskins is so bad that Alex Smith, a guy that almost got his leg amputated 2 years ago, is starting over him. That's how bad Dwayne Haskins has been. And I remember as a Bengals fan and a true Buckeye hater desperately wanting the Bengals a couple of years ago to pick Haskins. I am so glad they passed on him. But the passing offenses actually looked halfway decent since Haskins is gone. They've got McLaurin. They've got McKissick, who can catch the ball out of the backfield. Now it's going to be a big question mark with Alex Smith. He's always been a game manager, and I guess that could work in his favor. Washington's front seven is amazing. So I really think that they could really put the wraps on Detroit. I mean, what is Detroit offering? Adrian Peterson, the former Washington football player himself, is basically their star running back.
Revenge game.
Yeah, exactly. Kenny Galladay, he's out. My boy Marvin Jones had a decent game last week, but who's their other receiver? Marvin Hall, TJ Hawkinson, I guess. But I just think that Matt Patricia's a horrible coach. How he still has a job is second only to the fact that Adam Gase is still employed. So there's no way in heck that I'm going to ever pick the Detroit Lions this season unless they're playing the Jets. I'm definitely going Washington here. I think despite the fact that they are a flawed team, that defense is good enough to keep them in a lot of games.
Taking Wes's Washington Buckeyes, man. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, what the hell?
Dr. Wes, you going to stay there and let Jeff do that?
I swore off the Washingtons when they benched Dwayne Haskins for Kyle Allen. But now Kyle Allen has gotten hurt, so I have hope again that maybe Dwayne Haskins will get the ball. Because he should. You already know what you're going to get with Alex Smith. And it's, like he said, a game manager. Like, give the guy that has some upside the ball. Like, it's just pissing me off. You know you don't get anything with Kyle Allen. But long story short, like he said, the front seven of Washington is by far the best unit on this entire field. I think that Washington will scrape by in a close game that's going to be mismanaged by Matt Patricia and a just absolute snooze fest.
Yeah. Nobody wants us to watch this game. Please don't. I hope you have the Red Zone channel, or unless you're a Washington football team fan or a Lions fan, you've got something else better to do on Sunday than watch this game.
Yeah, if Polo is on, turn that on. That will be more exciting than this game. Literally, my notes for this game, guys, really quick. I have Detroit wins a snoozer. That's all I have.
I just want to know when we start in the Polo YouTube channel. I've got a lot of thoughts on that.
Oh, we got 2 weeks until that. Okay, we gotta get some logistics set up and whatnot. Okay. But it is coming. Okay, Look out for Polo videos in the very near future. I couldn't care less about this game. I picked Detroit. I don't know. They got Stafford. I think Stafford's pretty good. He's better than Alex Smith and Dwayne Haskins. That's the only reason I got for this game. No real analysis here. There's no odds or over-unders to go off of, which if I had to guess would be set at 28.5 points, the over-under, if I had to guess for this game. Because if a team scores, it's going to be on accident. Just don't watch this. It won't resemble football. If there's a peewee game going on in your neighborhood, maybe go check that out. Go check out some prospects for the NFL for the future. Maybe we're gonna move away from this pile of doo-doo, and we're gonna get to a half pile of doo-doo here with the 1-7 Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to the 6-2 Green Bay Packers. Green Bay, a monstrous 2-touchdown home favorite over the Jags with an over-under set at 52. Jacksonville has lost 7 in a row after their surprising Week 1 win over the Colts. But other than that, not much else has gone their way. Jake Luton was serviceable against the Texans last week. He put up 304 yards and 2 total touchdowns, which not bad, but it was the Texans defense. I mean, who hasn't done that? He gets a much tougher matchup this week against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Adams have played like they have something to prove this year. Adams is second in the league despite missing games with 8 receiving touchdowns. He has 6 in his past 3 games. Just insane pace that he's on here. Dr. West, this one should be pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, I won't waste everybody's time. I think it's obviously the Packers. If you can take the Packers in your survivor pool, I think this is the clear pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars are who we thought they were. Yeah, they're not good. So take the Packers.
Jeff, you agreeing? Taking the Packers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely taking the Packers. The spread, though, I think that's a little high. I mean, is Green Bay's defense really that great? Mullins put up points on him last week, and he's garbage. And who the heck were the 49ers starting at wide receiver? So they've got some talent. DJ Chark, James Robinson. Is that going to be enough to overcome the offensive fireworks that Green Bay puts up? No, but I think that spread's a little high. Definitely, though, I'm with Wes on this one. If you're picking a survivor pool and you haven't already picked against the Jaguars, or you haven't already used Green Bay, I should say, then I would go with them. I mean, I think if you're just talking straight up, this is a clear advantage and a clear win for Green Bay.
I will say, guys, if anything is going to stop Green Bay, it's a run game. We've seen it so far this year. So if Jacksonville wants to compete and just to cover this spread as well, I feel like James Robinson's going to have something like 25-ish carries for 150 yards and probably at least 2 touchdowns to have a chance here. But I don't see that happening. There's not a chance that happens this week. They're going to have to be throwing the ball because Green Bay's going to be at 14-0. James Robinson's not going to he's not going to get the 25 carries at all. Green Bay smacks them in this game. I think Green Bay could put up 40 points themselves in this game. They're at home just to prove a point that they're one of the best teams in the NFC after they got beat by Minnesota. That was a big game for them. That started Minnesota's turnaround, I feel like. So Green Bay here wins pretty easily. Not much else to add. Devonta Adams is cooking. If Russ is cooking, Devonta Adams also is cooking. Anything else to add for this game, guys?
No, let's not watch this one. It's going to be ugly.
Cool. Oh, you want to talk about ugly? Let's go. Another horrible NFC East matchup, guys. The 3-4-1 Eagles, they are division leading right now with a losing record, traveling to the 2-7 New York Giants, and we are blessed with yet another NFC East game. Philly had won 2 in a row before their bye, including a 22-21 win against the Giants at home, while the Giants are coming off an NFC win of their own, 23-20 versus the Washingtons. The Giants, they may get Devontae Freeman back, but on the other side, the Eagles sound like they're going to get back Miles Sanders. And offense is getting back into a little bit better shape here. So, Jeff, who you got in this hot fire NFC East matchup?
Oh, my God, this division is such hot garbage. I wish the Bengals were in this division because the class of that division, the Philadelphia Eagles, we hung a tie on them. So that's an accomplishment right there. But, I think Carson Wentz has struggled. He hasn't had those receivers. But Miles Sanders coming back is going to make a huge deal, great deal of improvement for them. So, and actually, all the receivers that have been injured, they've found some new guys that have filled in admirably. That defense, again, it's a good defense up front. I'm not so sure about the secondary, but you can count on Daniel Jones accounting for at least 2 turnovers per game. I'm just not sold on the Giants. It's another team I think is probably picking in the Jets are probably going to take that number 1 overall pick. They'll be picking second. I'm just not convinced Daniel Jones is a good quarterback with Barkley being out. Devontae Freeman, yeah, in fantasy, will get you some garbage points. But who can you really point to on that team that's a star that's going to do enough to get them a win? So I'm going Philadelphia all the way.
Philly, Dr. West, you agreeing with Jeff here? Taking Philly?
I totally agree. I mean, you got Philly coming off a bye versus a Giants team that just is not the same without Saquon Barkley. Even with Saquon Barkley, they're probably the worst team in their division. And the Eagles just have to get it right. They have to start getting some wins racked up if they want to take hold of this division. So give me the Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles, they're just a much better team overall than the Giants, 100%, who, the Giants are obviously, they're without their whole offense in Saquon Barkley. I will say, though, if Wentz continues to throw interceptions at this clip, they did just barely beat this team 2 weeks ago. They beat them by 1 point, 22-21. So I almost am inclined, if this Giants spread gets up to +4 or +5, I would throw that in there. I think it's going to be a decently close game. New York did play the Bucs close a couple weeks ago. They have options on offense with Sterling Shepard. Golden Tate's throwing a temper tantrum. I'm not quite sure what he's doing, but it's sorry, Jeff, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean but the whole Golden Tate thing, that's like a cancer in the locker room situation. They're basically telling him to sit down and shut up. So, yeah, I mean, they've got Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, but
it's about it.
I don't know.
Slayton.
Slayton?
Yeah, Slayton, yeah, that's true. I mean, he's a good deep threat, but if you don't have a good enough line to protect Daniel Jones, the problem is he's too confident in his arm. He's out there trying to be a playmaker and make that big play every time instead of taking what the defense gives you. Shouldn't be a game manager the entire time, but you're not Brett Favre. Quit acting like you're Brett Favre. Those turnovers are killing this team, and I'm confident that the Eagles are going to come up with more turnovers than the Giants, and that's what's going to be the ultimate deciding factor here.
Yeah, this game could be a turnover fest, right? Over under 4.5 turnovers, I think, is the line probably for this game.
Right.
Like, you got to think Wentz is going to have 2. Daniel Jones is probably going to have 2. You throw another random fumble in somewhere between these two teams who, I don't know if you saw the clip between the Giants and Redskins. Woo! Tally one up! We got the R word. Pulled one out versus the Washingtons. Gosh. Yeah. That, like, no one, apparently everyone's allergic to a football.
The fumble that kept going down the field.
Yeah.
And then eventually they came away with it. That was a disgraceful play.
It's just Pee Wee football at its finest, and these two teams are, of that caliber. But Philadelphia wins in the crap bowl that we got going here. And that will take us to our last 1 o'clock game on Sunday. We have a lot of 4 o'clock games this week, but we've got the 6-3 Bucks traveling to the 3-6 Panthers. Bucks 4.5-point road favorites here. We get another NFC South matchup with Tampa Bay coming off just an absolute bludgeoning by the Saints on Sunday night. It was 38-3, handing Tom Brady his worst loss since 2003. Not a typo there. 2003. That is correct. He's been in the league for that long. Meanwhile, the Panthers, they have seriously cooled down to the tune of 4 losses in a row, but all by an average of 5 points in those losses. They played the Chiefs very tough, losing 33-31 last week. It does appear that Christian McCaffrey may be re-injured. He came up with a shoulder injury last week. When these two teams played earlier this year in Week 2, the Bucks were coming off a loss to the Saints, and they won 31-17 against the Panthers. So, Dr. West, will Tampa Bay rebound here against the Panthers yet again?
I don't know. I get the Buccaneers wrong every single week. I know you take them every week, so that's gotten you a 6-3. You've gotten 6-3 record just from that. And I think that I've done the opposite of you every time, so I'm probably 3-6 with the Bucks. I just don't know what to do. I think that the Bucks are clearly the better team. They are just so inconsistent. Sometimes they look like they should be winning the NFC, and sometimes they look like they did last week, and they're just like absolute trash. They look like they belong in the NFC East. I'm going to take the Bucks just because I think that they are the better all-around team. Their run defense is really good and will shut down whoever Carolina throws at them. But I don't feel confident about it because they have really shaken my confidence, and I get them wrong every time. So it is what it is, I guess.
So you're saying you would take Carolina plus 4.5 then at this point?
Oh, for sure. With the spread, I would take Carolina just because I'm unsure.
Interesting. Okay, Jeff, how do you see this game going?
Well, first, I want to talk about last week. Can we talk about Jameis Winston coming back to bite the Buccaneers in the ass one more time? He's like, on the way out of town, let me grab this playbook and hand it over to you, Sean Payton. It looked like the Saints knew exactly what Tampa was going to do before they did it. I know they play in the same division every year. It just shocked me how ill-prepared Tampa seemed. And Bruce Arians was even kind of throwing some shade Tom Brady's way, talking about how Mike Evans was wide open and just wasn't getting looks. So this offense doesn't look in sync to me. Ronald Jones got off to a hot start, but has had some fumbling issues. Leonard Fournette's kind of coming to more of a role, but he only had a couple carries. Still, though, the offensive weapons that they have, what do we got? Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Gronk.
Tom Brady.
Yeah, Tom Brady. I mean, obviously this is the GOAT, but that's an embarrassment of riches for him to work with. It's hard for me to pick against that, but you know what? I'm going to buck the trend here. Carolina's weakness is running the ball on defense or going against the run. And even with them potentially missing Christian McCaffrey, Mike Davis has filled in admirably. Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater has been throwing the ball fairly well. They've got some receivers too. DJ Moore, Curtis Samuels looked like a revelation. And what about Robbie Anderson reuniting with his former coach at Temple, Matt Rule, who is just proving how inept Adam Gase is again? Because look at Robbie Anderson in New York and look at him in Carolina. Look at completely different players. So this is going to be my upset special of the week. I'm going to go ahead and take the Carolina Panthers straight up.
I'll be dang. You were talking up the Bucs there with all them offensive weapons. You had me thinking you were going towards Tampa Bay.
You know I'm never going to pick Brady.
That's very true. I understand that. So here we are yet again, breaker of ties, first of my name. I don't think anyone's going to be really shocked when they see who I'm going to pick here. I have officially sworn off the Carolina Panthers. I think they're okay, but history repeats itself here for me after week 2. Tom Brady is not happy, and when Tom Brady is not happy, he does not lose 2 games in a row. I think the defensive mistakes will be fixed. I will say that I feel like Antonio Brown is more of a distraction than anything. I think it's almost too much on offense. Like, you brought in the Leonard Fournette headache. You brought in this Antonio Brown headache. The talent is just all there. I think Tampa Bay wins the game. Wouldn't be surprised if it's closer than everyone thinks it is, though. So I agree with Wes's statement that the 4.5 for Carolina looks pretty good. I would probably take that. Waiting on some Christian McCaffrey news, but of course I'm going to roll with Tom and Tampa Bay here, leaving Jeff out on his own.
That's all right.
Take a Carolina. I feel pretty confident about that one, Dr. West. So I'm just going to go ahead and hand Jeff his win right here for this game.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yeah, there we go. That'll take us to our 4 p.m. games. The first one, we've got the 7-2 Buffalo Bills traveling to the 5-3 my Arizona Cardinals. Cardinals, a 2-point home favorite. I'm honestly surprised to see them as a home favorite here. Over-under set, I think it's the biggest of the week at 56. So if you guys have watched any of the videos so far, I am spiritually attached to the Cardinals so far this year. And in a year where my heart already hurts, as being a fan of the Patriots and Bengals, watching this Cardinals team has given me a lot more unnecessary stress than I'd like. They went stride for stride with the Dolphins last week, but a 0-point fourth quarter ultimately cost them that victory against Miami. In a game where Kyler Murray threw for 3 touchdowns and ran another one in. He's looked fantastic so far. Buffalo, on the other hand, they have won now 3 in a row after beating the Seahawks 44-34. So, Jeff, who do you got in what appears to be one of the best games of the week?
Well, my spiritual connection this season, it goes straight to Josh Allen. The Buffalo Bills, as a Bengals fan, we've kind of had a kinship over the past few years. So definitely I'm impressed by what Buffalo's doing. Josh Allen, a lot of people were hating on him the first couple of years in the league. And admittedly, he was a raw prospect coming out of Wyoming, but got a cannon for an arm. And it finally looks like the coaching that he's been getting from Sean McDermott and the offensive crew up there has really elevated his game. He's always a threat to run the ball, which is kind of shocking when you think about it. He's a big guy, 6'4". Coming out of college, he wasn't known for his running ability. And then look at the weapons. Again, we've got Stephon Diggs, John Brown. And if they can ever get that running game figured out, which I kind of feel like they're getting better play now with Zach Moss, that maybe they go away from Singletary and focus more on Moss, the rookie, and see where that takes them. I just think that they have more of a complete team. Now, the defense is still a little bit up in the air. The Cardinals offense, let's not lie. You've got probably the best receiver in football right now. I'm sorry, DK Metcalf gets that crown, but DJ.
Hot take.
Yeah, DJ Metcalf, he's crazy, but Hopkins right up there with him. And let's talk about Arizona's running game. Everybody was hating on, the early season progress that they were throwing up there, and the savior was going to be the new running back that they brought in this week. But he didn't look any better. Their running back 1 is Kyler Murray, and he's a slight guy. He's small. How much longer can he hold up like that? Chase Edmonds, he looked decent last week. I mean, was he better than Kenyon Drake? Everyone's saying Kenyon Drake, oh my God, he's the problem. Maybe it's that line. So I just think Buffalo's too hot. I don't care if this game's at Arizona. I'm going with the Bills and my spirit animal, Josh Allen.
Jeff, I feel like in every league I'm in with you drafted Josh Allen this year.
I did.
It's working out pretty well for you, I think.
It has worked out pretty well.
Dr. Wes, you going to side with Jeff here and take the Bills? I know you're an anti-Bills guy so far this year.
I've been anti-Bills. I've been kind of anti-Cardinals. So I'm going to make this pick based solely off a gut feeling. And the gut feeling is that this line is fishy to me. The Bills won a game that a lot of people watched against the Seahawks. The Seahawks, have a great record and are thought to be one of the best teams in the NFC, and the Bills kind of dismantled them. And so now they're coming in as an underdog against a team that just lost against the Dolphins. So, why are they the underdog? It just seems kind of fishy to me, like this is like a Las Vegas, like, I feel like they're trying to trap you into betting on the Bills. I know this is all like voodoo, but the line seems fishy to me. And I think that the Cardinals can win this game. They have the talent to do it. The Bills' defense is not very good. I'm hoping that Kyler Murray can get things on track. And I think I'm going to take the Cardinals.
I am surprised with that, honestly.
I am too.
I didn't see that coming. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw the stat, but like I think of the first 38 plays the Bills ran last week, like 33 of them were pass plays. I think that's the formula to beat the Cardinals this week. Their defense is not fantastic. Neither is the Bills' defense. That's why we see this over under 56. These two offenses are absolutely elite. Top 5-6 offenses, I would say. For me, I'm going to have to side with my preseason pick for the NFC West.
Good. Pick up some more games.
Yeah, bring it on. Let's go. We're going to leave Jeff out there and get this win. Let's do it. I can't abandon them in this game, and honestly, it feels a little weird for me to pick the Bills. Being a Patriots fan, I hope they lose all their games. I don't like the Bills. I like the Cardinals. I'm a little biased, I think, this year, with the Cardinals being my preseason pick over there in the NFC West. Miami is charging, though, so this is a big game for both of them. Arizona has to stay competitive in the NFC West. Arizona wins this game 31-28. Call it now. Write it down.
All right.
Yeah, right.
I like it.
I mean, I could see that happening. Like, honestly, I think Arizona has the tools, the weapons to beat them. But, I mean, I know the Dolphins are playing better, but they just lost to Miami. And I get it. Buffalo put it to Seattle, who's, in my opinion, a better team. So I'm going to roll with the Bills.
That is fair. If there's ever an island to be out on for picks, this is a good one to be out on, taking Buffalo.
Yeah, dude, it's my private island. Maybe you guys can come visit me sometime.
We'll come visit after we get this dub. Yeah. Let's go. All right, we've got the 2-6 Los Angeles Fighting Justin Herberts traveling to the 5-3 Miami Tua Tagovailoas. Yes, they don't have actually, the quarterbacks are taking these teams over, it seems like. The Dolphins are 2.5-point home favorites here with an over-under set at 48. This is a huge rookie matchup as Herbert now travels to Tua. Tua is 2-0 as a starter in the NFL, while Justin Herbert, he's in the Rookie of the Year running despite only picking up one win in 6 starts so far. That's how well he's been playing. We covered all the blown leads the Chargers have given up over last week. Herbert has 17 touchdowns, so only 5 interceptions, while Tua is leading a Dolphins team that is actually plus 61 in point differential on the season, which is good for 4th best in the NFL. Surprising stat of the week. Bet y'all didn't see that one coming. They are allowing the 11th most total yards in the league, so they're getting a lot of stops on defense. I feel like in the red zone here is what we're seeing. Dr. West, who you got in this big rookie clash?
I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. I'll probably be watching the Masters during this, so sorry, Justin Herbert, but I'm always going to pick against Anthony Lynn. He is just a turd of a coach. I've been on the Dolphin train all year. I've said that they're a better team than what their record indicated at the beginning of the year. I think now their record is more reflective of how their talent, and they are so much better. They're a much better coach team. I think their defense is above average, and I like Tua. I wanted Tua over Joe Burrow, so.
No, dude, no.
Yeah.
I was 100% with you all the way until you brought that abomination up.
No, because we could have traded down and got more picks. That's part of the argument.
I mean, potentially, but you don't pass on Burrow. Not to get off topic, but I mean, I agree with almost everything you said there. I don't think Anthony Lynn is the coach to get them to where they need to be. They have a tradition that goes back prior to Anthony Lynn of blowing big leads. And Justin Herbert's looked amazing. Let's be honest. He really has. I think he's playing a lot better than anyone actually anticipated. So they've got a lot going, but that defense scares me. I really don't know if they're capable of, even going up against a guy in his 3rd start of really doing enough to get them the win. Tua's looked okay. His first game, he didn't really do much. Last week was better. He's easing his way into it, but I believe Preston Williams may miss the game. So you've got Devontae Parker. They're already missing Gaskin. So who's their running back? Jordan Howard. He looked so awful that he was a healthy scratch for part of the year. I think like if they were going up against a legitimate defense, I'd be more inclined to pick against the Dolphins, but to echo what Wes is saying, Brian Flores, hell of a coach. Probably my coach of the year so far. What he's done with the Miami team that he took over last year and the transformation, the culture change that he brought to that team, which is the rare New England's Patriot assistant that's actually done something for another team. So I think the coaching and the overall talent on defense is going to be the difference maker. Give me the Dolphins in this one.
And we are surprisingly going to have a sweep here for the Miami Tuas. If you guys have seen any of the prior videos that we've done, you all will know that I have completely sworn off Anthony Lynn as any resemblance of a head coach. He sucks. He sucks. The Chargers are dead to me, despite them being my pick at the start of the year in this division. But I will say picking Miami feels a little dirty, and I'm ready to get dirty. Let's go. We're taking Miami. Let's do it. Taking Miami. We got a Miami sweep. That will now take us to the 3-5 Denver Broncos, traveling to maybe a surprising 5-3 Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders 5-point home favorites with a pretty standard this year, over under 52. And guys, we now have an official new Mr. Fourth Quarter, as Drew Lock has now gone back-to-back games with 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. But unfortunately for Broncos fans and for Steve, it still wasn't enough to defeat we love to blow the lead Falcons. They still held on. The Broncos lost 34-27 last week, while the Raiders stayed hot and defeated the Justin Herberts last week 31-26 on the back of a big rushing performance, 160 rushing yards. So, Jeff, AFC West matchups, they're typically pretty solid, I feel like. Both these teams will be fighting for a playoff spot. Who comes out on top?
I mean, we're stretching who's fighting for a playoff spot if we're including the Denver Broncos. Let's be honest. Vic Fangio's right up there with Anthony Lynn as another coach that I have no confidence in. Drew Lock, jury's still out. I think coming out of Missouri, had all the arm talent in the world, but still hasn't been able to prove whether or not that's going to be enough to succeed in the NFL. You know, can you read a defense? Can you do something beyond that first read? Can you actually make adjustments to the line of scrimmage? Doesn't help, again, when you have a defensive-minded coach like Vic Fangio. They've got some talent in the backfield. You got Melvin Gordon, who I'm still confused as to why they signed him. I honestly prefer Phillip Lindsay, but they've got some talent there in that backfield. Jerry Jeudy's still young. Tim Patrick, Noah Fant, if the man could ever stay healthy, looks like a beast of a tight end. And that defense seems to be aging a bit. I think, you got Derek Carr. He doesn't really impress me, but he's done fairly well this year. You got Henry Ruggs over there. You've got Nelson Aguilar, who actually looks like a competent NFL receiver. Who would ever thought of that?
What happened there?
Aguilar, whatever his name is.
No, what happened there with Aguilar?
Yeah. Aguilar, what has happened with that guy? Like, I just am shocked. He looked like a deadbeat in Philadelphia. Now he's actually competent. And then Waller, when you're talking about tight ends, not to get into a fantasy talk, but outside of Travis Kelce, who else are you going to rely on? So having that weapon at tight end, and then let's not forget Josh Jacobs. I think they've just got too much. They're playing at home. Not that it matters. There's not fans in the stands. But, again, I just don't trust Drew Lock and Vic Fangio enough to pick against the Raiders. So
Dr. West, you side with Jeff here.
I actually will. He said Brian Flores was coach of the year. In my opinion, it's John Gruden. He's done so much with this team that doesn't have actually a lot of talent and has a lot of inept ownership, and they're in a tough division. I admire what he's done this year. Long story short, I think this will be a close divisional game. I think that it'll probably I would actually take Denver with the +5 just because I think this is probably a field goal game, even maybe a late charge by Drew Lock. I've been really impressed with him, but I don't think that as a team they are as well-rounded as the Raiders, so I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I think one of my biggest plays this week might be the over-under 52. I feel like both these teams are going to want to take the air out of the ball this game.
Yeah,
I don't see 52. You're assuming 28, 24, something like that as a scoreline. That just seems kind of high for both teams for me. So I take the under for 52. As for the game itself, Jeff said it perfectly, going through the weapons for the Raiders, Darren Waller and Josh Jacobs. While Denver has pieces that are playable there with Noah Fant and Melvin Gordon, the Raiders' pieces are better. They have the better quarterback for me so far. No slight against Drew Lock, who has played very well just in the fourth quarter of the past 2 games. It's taken them 3 quarters to get warmed up. I don't think there's going to be 3 more touchdowns for Drew Lock in the fourth this game. A sweep for the Raiders. Does that surprise you all here?
No, but I gotta rebut a little bit of what Wes was saying about Coach of the Year when it comes to John Gruden. Maybe the X's and O's have been great, but the man's simple refusal to wear a mask properly literally cost the Raiders a 6th-round pick next year. He personally got fined $150,000. The team itself got fined $500,000. Regardless of how you feel about politics, we can all agree that wearing a mask, fairly simple thing to do. Even if you don't like doing it, if the NFL has warned you multiple times, because you're so ignorant and unwilling to follow the rules, you cost your team a draft pick. That, to me, eliminates him from any Coach of the Year conversation.
Yeah, I think that's the nail in John Gruden's coffin for Coach of the Year. It's just the inability to follow a simple wear a mask rule.
Yeah, get one of those face shields. You don't like a mask? Get a face shield.
Yeah, look at Andy Reid. Perfect.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it. Just a reminder: wear your masks out there, everybody. Wear your masks.
Absolutely.
COVID is a thing. It's ramping up. Wear your damn mask. Be courteous of everyone else around you. Just do it. Come on. Very simple.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Let's get to. I think this is going to be a humongous game. I love this game. 6-2 Seattle traveling to the 5-3 Los Angeles Rams. 2-point home favorites for the Rams. This could easily be a pick'em game, honestly, in my opinion, with an over/under of 55.5. The NFC West. This division has been on fire so far this year, and this could, at this point, be the biggest match of the season for that division. Seattle, they've given up the 5th most points in the NFL while scoring the 2nd most points in the NFL. But the Rams, they've made their money on defense so far this year, allowing the 2nd fewest points in the NFL. Aaron Donald, guys, you know, he's a force. He leads the league in sacks. No surprise there whatsoever. But Seattle, they should be getting Jamal Adams back for this game. I saw that today. I'm really looking forward to this game. Dr. West, I hope you are as well. And I know you've liked Seattle so far this year. You're going to stick with them.
I have liked Seattle all year. I called them as the NFC champion at the beginning of the year. But that being said, I am going to take the Rams this week. The Rams are coming off a bye. Seattle is gone from Seattle to Buffalo, now back to Seattle, back to the West Coast in LA. The Rams are the type of team that are going to give the Seahawks a problem because the Seahawks are so porous on defense, and the Rams offense is just good enough that they could take advantage of that. They're not a stellar offense, but they're above average probably, and they'll be able to take advantage of that terrible Seattle defense. And the Rams defense, I think, is just good enough to at least hurry up. The only defense you have against Russell Wilson is to make him hurry. If you put a spy on him and try to keep him inside the pocket, I think that's the only way you can beat him. And the Rams have the defense to be able to do that. So I think the Rams win a game probably by a touchdown. So I would actually take them -2.
Ooh, Rams by a touchdown. Jeff, you going to agree with Dr. West?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about the spread point, but I definitely agree with him. Here's the thing. Jamal Adams was back last week. And how much did that help Seattle's defense? I believe Josh Allen put up 415 passing yards and threw for another 4 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. All the while, Jamal Adams, when he was drafted, talked trash about my boy Josh Allen. How's it looking now, buddy? I would never understand why they gave up 2 first-round picks and an additional safety for a guy that's not really that great in coverage. His strength is playing inside the box. He's more of a run stopper than he is a cover guy.
He's a blitz guy.
To give up that much draft capital for a guy that can't really cover seemed insane to me to begin with. So their defense, they got Carlos Dunlap. How much of a help did that help? He couldn't even break the top 2 in the Bengals defensive line rotation. So they've just been on the struggle bus all year when it comes to defense. And let me tell you, the Rams have quietly become a running team. They've got a good rotation of backs there with Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown. And even if Darrell Henderson, yeah, exactly. So even if Darrell Henderson isn't able to play, you could rotate Cam Akers in there, and I think that they won't miss a beat. That line's aging a bit, Jared Goff still don't think is an elite quarterback, but you've got Robert Woods, you've got Tyler Higbee, Gerald Everett, not great tight ends, but serviceable. Cooper Kupp, yep, exactly. So I think that they can do enough on offense to put up the points, and I also think they can take the air out of the ball a little bit, run the ball, keep the ball out of Russ's hands, and like to echo Wes's point, if you're gonna beat Russ, you've got to put heat on. That's not going to be the full guarantee shut him down. He's going to cook. The limit is cooking. So to me, I think this is definitely a game where, we got two good coaches. Pete Carroll, really good coach, but at the end of the day, I think the Rams have enough more talent. Let's not forget that Jalen Ramsey to go with Aaron Donald. Now you can put him on DK Metcalf. That still leaves Tyler Lockett, but is Chris Carson going to play? DJ Dallas hasn't done enough to impress me. He scored some touchdowns that are good in fantasy, but he's not really an NFL caliber starting running back. So I'm going with the Rams.
So, Jeff, you're leading me right into my points here. For me, in order for the Rams to win this game, they're going to have to use that Viking strategy from a couple weeks ago. Keep Russ off the field. You're going to have to run. You can't score quickly. Russ may be able to score quickly in this game. I'm not sure. I have a question for you guys, though. On a scale, of 1 to 32 for starting quarterbacks, where do you guys put Russell Wilson?
Oh, gosh. I would
2
have
or
to say
3.
The only quarterback I'm putting ahead of him right now is Mahomes.
Okay,
I would say 2.
2? Where do you guys put Jared Goff on that same scale?
17.
I would put him in the top half. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, 17. I wouldn't argue with, but I think he's right around in that mid-range quarterback. I don't think he's great, but he's serviceable. He's got I think the thing that helps him is having an offensive-minded, basically a genius, an offensive genius as a coach. So that overcomes a lot of his flaws. But ultimately, like talent-wise, yeah, he's somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Okay, so we've got second overall Russell Wilson versus 15th place Jared Goff. Give me the Seahawks. Let's go. Give me Russ.
All right.
Gonna get different here. Yeah, taking the Seahawks. It's gonna be let Russ cook day. I feel like it's gonna have to be. It doesn't matter who they throw out there at running back, as long as you keep Russell Wilson standing upright. This should be okay. DK Metcalf, we've seen him overpower anybody. He can overpower this punk Jalen Ramsey. The dude talks more shit than he needs to. He's about to have a guy who could run like a 4.2 40 who's like 6'6" coming at him. Stop that. Come on. Let's go. Give me Seattle. I'm out on the island by myself this time. Russ, let's go. Prove why you're the MVP this year. Give me this win. I need it. Let's go. That will take us to a game that has no lines so far, as you see there, due to the COVID outbreak, quote-unquote, within the Steelers organization. This game could be very interesting. Vance McDonald was the one that actually tested positive for COVID, but they were forced to put Big Ben and 3 other Steelers on the COVID list today. But as long as those tests come back negative, they are eligible to play this weekend still, hence why you see no lines. This is something we need to keep an eye on, though. As the Bengals, they are playing very well offensively, and the Steelers, they just struggled versus the Cowboys, the lowly Cowboys. Jeff, let's go. You're a Bengals fan. Can they pull off the upset here?
Oh, God. I mean, it pains me. I don't even want to say their name, but that team from Pittsburgh, I think, is definitely the pick. Let's be honest about the Bengals. Their offensive line still is garbage. Yes, they played better against Tennessee, but Tennessee didn't get a single sack on Joe Burrow. The only other team that wasn't able to successfully sack Joe Burrow was the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's the key for the Bengals, is keeping Burrow upright. Now you look at Pittsburgh's front seven. Okay. I don't care if their whole offense is on the COVID list. If TJ Watt and company, Bud Dupree and company are still going to be out there on the field, I just don't think the offensive line from Cincinnati can hold up. We don't know if Mixon's going to play. That's still in doubt. Gio Bernard's filled in admirably. Yes, they have weapons. Tyler Boyd, great slot guy. T. Higgins is going to be one of the next superstars in the league. He's going to take over the mantle of the previous guy to wear 85, Ocho Cinco. I just think that the Bengals aren't quite there yet. They may keep this game competitive with the COVID situation. It's at Pittsburgh. I can't even tell you the last time the Bengals won a game in Pittsburgh. And again, I think this defense is just too much for that patchwork offensive line for the Bengals. So as much as it pains me to say it, And I think, honestly, hands down, Herbert's been impressive, but Burrow, I think, has been even more impressive. And I think there's great things to come from him. I think he's going to be the guy to actually the guy that eventually will lead the Bengals to playoff success. But this week, it's not going to happen.
It's not the week.
Yeah, Steelers win big here.
Dr. West, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mean, I won't waste too much time. I think he said all the important things. I think that the Steelers are going to roll. I mean, it will be a different story if they're rolling out Mason Rudolph. That will make it a much more interesting game.
Yeah, he's garbage.
Yeah, he's absolute trash. His head is like half broken in still from Shakespeare. So, yeah, give me the Steelers, but, it could be different later in the week.
So, I am 0-4 picking the Bengals on an island by myself this year.
So you can't fix stupid and you're going to do it again?
That's not going to change. No, we're going with the Steelers. Screw that. I can't get behind Dr. West any more than I already am. It doesn't matter who the Steelers throw out there. I think they're going to win this game. I think the defense is going to give Burrow some crazy looks. He's a rookie. Do what you got to do. They're going to mix it up. That's what they do in Pittsburgh. They mix up the defense. They're going to give you some weird blitz looks. Burrow probably, unfortunately, has 2 interceptions this game. I wouldn't be surprised if one comes back for a touchdown. The game is in Pittsburgh. Jeff, you said it perfectly. Not going to spend too much more time. I can't remember the last time Bengals won at Pittsburgh, so it's got to be the Steelers. Pretty straightforward game, unfortunately. And we get to our last 4 o'clock game here. We've got the 4-5 San Francisco 49ers traveling to the 6-2 New Orleans Saints. The Saints, roughly 10-point home favorites here with an over-under at 50. We got about a 30-20 game here is what Vegas is projecting at this point. But for me, it took 9 weeks, and I'm finally starting to feel bad for the 49ers. In addition to all the injuries they've had going on, they had a run of games that started 2 weeks ago against the Seahawks where they lost. They lost to the Packers last week. Now they get the Saints, Rams, and Bills in their next 3. Piled on for the 49ers this year, right? Poor Nick Mullins. He's going to need superpowers to start competing in all these games, I feel like. While the Saints, they're just getting warmed up. They throttled the Bucs last week, 38-3. The offense is back to full strength, it looks like. I think they have a very easy road to at least 12 wins for the rest of the year if you look at their schedule. But Dr. West, can the Niners get it done in New Orleans?
No, I don't think so. I mean, the Saints are clearly the favorite team here. San Fran's coming across the country to play in the Dome, where we know that the Saints can turn it into a track meet. And I will say, though, 9.5 points seems like a lot, and I wouldn't be shocked if that number moved even more, just because the way that the Buccaneers are kind of like one of America's teams, and they just got absolutely dismantled by the Saints. So the public may be behind the Saints. But I think that the 49ers have at least a good enough defense to keep it, within a touchdown, I would think. So I think the Saints are the clear pick, but I would probably take them at plus 9.5, which I think will probably get closer to plus 11 by kickoff.
Yeah, I think that spread's going to go up after that showing on, national TV against the Bucs.
Yeah, exactly.
And instead of Tom Brady, now you get Nick Mullins. So, yeah, that could easily get to, I think, 12 or 13 by weekend. I'm serious. Jeff, you side with the Saints here as well?
Yeah, I just don't know how you can pick San Francisco at this point. Richard Sherman, I don't know if he returns this week. They designated him to return from the IR, but they've just been ravaged by injuries. Go down the list. George Kittle's out. Mostert's out. Garoppolo's out. Thank you. And then Tevin Coleman's out. The running backs.
Nick Bosa,
yeah. Yeah, it's just been an unfortunate scenario because I think if they're healthy, this is probably the matchup of the week. This will probably be a Sunday night game, but going across, 2 time zones to play in New Orleans, I just don't think they have enough. Maybe they'll keep it competitive. I don't know about moving the spread that high, but because to me, the Saints defense did look better last week, but still a little suspect. Marshawn Lattimore hasn't been the same corner that he was last year. Maybe they're starting to turn that corner. But can you point to the positives for San Francisco? Can you point to an advantage that they would have at any position group for this game? Nope. I just don't see it, so I think New Orleans wins this going away.
Yeah, I'm not going to add too much to that. When the Saints are healthy, they're very dangerous. I think 9.5, if you're going to take this game, this is the number to take it at. I think that's a pretty good number. They could easily win this game 30-20. I think that's easily within the realm of possibilities. Nick Mullins, can he compete offensively with Drew Brees? No. Let's be real. Saints easily here. We got 2 games left, guys. We're about to hit the hour mark. Let's go. We've got the 6-2 Baltimore Ravens traveling to my 3-5 New England Patriots. The spread, the Patriots are a home dog by a touchdown with an over-under at an abysmal 42.5. All signs point to the Ravens taking the Patriots to the cleaners here, right? They've allowed a league low 142 points. They are plus 85 in point differential, second in the league to the Chiefs. And New England is coming into this game after barely scraping by the Jets after a last-second 50-yard Nick Folk field goal. Baltimore is 8th best in the league in rushing yards allowed per game, so they are very adept at preventing what New England does best, which is run the ball. Jeff, unfortunately, this one's pretty straightforward, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is Baltimore all the way. I mean, I know, Baltimore hasn't exactly been the juggernaut offensively that we anticipated, but New England's defense just not there. I mean, if you're allowing the Jets to put up that many points, I can't imagine what Lamar Jackson and company are going to do to you. To me, I can't figure out what New England's doing. I feel like they should have moved some pieces around the trade deadline because let's be honest, they're not making the playoffs this year. They don't have a whole lot of young talent on that team. So yeah, I won't take up too much time, but I think Baltimore's just going to crush them. And, I think a lot of people are going to jump and say that Brady's proven that he was, the reason that New England's winning, but, give Belichick some time to improve that roster and they'll be back, but it's just not going to be this year. They're just not a good team.
Yeah, Dr. West, really quick. So New England, they have 13 rushing touchdowns so far this year. 8 of them are coming from Cam Newton. But this Ravens defense gets to practice against Lamar Jackson every single day. So they see all the looks. I am a Patriots fan. Give me all the crap that you want. You guys do all the time. I understand. There's just no way they win this game. Dr. West, you going to complete the sweep for us?
Yeah, I agree. They're just not on the same caliber, and I'm surprised that the Patriots even won that game against the Jets. I thought that they were going to throw it just because they're out of it now, and Bill Belichick's playing for the next 10 years, not for this year. And I thought they would tank a little bit, but whatever. I admire them for winning that game, but I don't think they're in the same class as the Ravens.
Yeah, I think Belichick, he hasn't done a great job drafting lately. They took N'Keal Harry over DK Metcalf. So you don't see a whole lot of young talent on that roster. So not saying he's not a great coach, probably still the GOAT coach of all time. But, honestly, might be a hot take for me and might be a little biased since I'm a Bengals fan. But at least on offense, I think the Bengals have more offensive talent than the Patriots currently do.
I would agree with that. I would. It's ugly. It's ugly in Foxborough this year. Let's say that definitely. Much. And to ease my grieving heart, let's get away from that game and get to our Monday night matchup. We've got the 3-5 Minnesota Vikings traveling to the 5-4 Chicago Bears. We see it every week, man. The Bears, they have a winning record, but yet they're an underdog. Again, Minnesota, a road favorite here by 3 points with an over-under at 44.5. Chicago has lost 3 games in a row. They're averaging less than 17 points a game in those 3 losses. They have confusion at quarterback as Nick Foles is just not getting it done. Shocker. And they now get a resurgent Vikings team who has won 2 in a row over NFC North compatriots, the Packers and the Lions. And they look to make it 3 divisional wins in a row in Chicago. Dr. West, I feel like we've been stout haters of Chicago so far this year. Will they now lose 4 in a row?
Yeah, I have been hating on Chicago all year. And it, as you can see by the record, it hasn't worked out for me that much. Minnesota is pissing me off. I mean, I had them to win this division, and they show what they could be. Like, once in every 3 weeks, they'll show what I thought they were going to be all year, and they just don't do it. I'm actually going to take the Bears here at home. I think that this is going to be a slow, grinded out game. 44.5 is probably pretty dang close to what it's going to end up being. And I think that the Bears D, they'll do enough to keep them in the game and potentially win this.
Vegas has this set at 24-20. That's going to be the score of this game. I'm totally convinced. Jeff, are you going to take the Bears here?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, typically, they got off to that mirage of a hot start at 5-1, was it 5-1 or was it?
It was 5-1. Yeah,
5-1, and now they're 5-4. And like you were saying, Foles is not the answer. They just don't really have any cohesive offensive philosophy. It seems like the only really talent that they seem to have is Allen Robinson, but without a quarterback that can get the ball to him, it's so suspect. Now, the one saving grace they have this week is they're playing the Minnesota defense, who have looked like hot garbage consistently week in and week out. But do they have enough talent on that offensive line? David Montgomery looks like the least athletic starting running back I've seen in several years. Looks like he's running in snow boots with concrete in them. He has no athletic talent at all. But then again, they are playing at home, and like Wes says, I definitely think they have the better defense. In the end, I think Nick Foles and Allen Robinson and company do just enough to hold off the Vikings, because I think the Vikings are basically a one-trick pony. It's the Dalvin Cook show. You can shut down Dalvin Cook, then you're going to shut down the Vikings, and I think the Bears defense has just enough to pull that off.
Yeah, I think Minnesota has allowed like a league-high 19 passing touchdowns so far, which bodes very well for Allen Robinson and Darnell Mooney. But the issue is, can Foles actually get them the ball? I honestly don't know. I don't think Matt Nagy knows how to scheme them open. I think it just, if it happens, it might happen. Who knows? You throw the ball Allen Robinson's way enough, he's going to catch 9 passes for 80 yards, and it may have a touchdown mixed in there. Yeah. I'm actually kind of surprised you both took the Bears. I'm going to take the Vikings here. I think they finally found a little bit of rhythm on offense, and by rhythm, they finally found a little bit of Dalvin Cook on offense. He had 163 yards and 3 touchdowns versus the Packers, 206 and 2 versus the Lions, but they give up rushing touchdowns like it's going out of style. A lot more troubles ahead with this Bears defense. Was only allowed 2 rushing touchdowns all year. I think that gets doubled this week. Cook gets in there twice. This game is slow AF. It's 23-20 either way. I'm going to take the Vikings. They continue to roll here. I just have no faith in Chicago. I hate them. I hate them.
Well, listen. You bring up some good points about Trubisky, Nick Foles. I mean, that whole quarterback situation's a mess. But when you're talking about Dalvin Cook's recent explosion, what teams has he done that against? Look at the Green Bay Packers run defense. Horrendous. The Detroit Lions run defense. Horrendous. Now they're playing a legit. Yeah. Yes. Now they're playing a legit defense. And I think ultimately that's the difference in this. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be very ugly. But, when you're playing 2, quarterbacks that aren't great, Kirk Cousins, I mean, he's probably a slight upgrade to Nick Foles. Not that that's saying much, but at the end of the day, in this slogfest, give me the team with the better D, and that's why I'm going with the Bears.
Yep, I totally see that. I do think the Bears could pretty handily win this game. Mike Zimmer has not been competent offensively at all this year. It's been the Dalvin Cook show, and now Chicago, especially at home, they can roll here. Gotta take the Vikes. So they were my preseason pick in the NFC North.
Mike Zimmer's always been about ball control offense and running the ball, which is great when you have Dalvin Cook. But when you don't have the defense to back that up, it doesn't work.
Totally agree. Yeah, they're allowing passing touchdowns. It just at a rate that's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Yeah. That will take us to our last segment of the week, guys. We've got our Survivor picks, and yet again, Dr. West, here is my weekly apology to you for our Week 3 debacle. I apologize to you, but not really. You had this coming. It's your fault. But you have rounded off 6 in a row here, which is good. If I can, add things up, click on the screen. It is 6 in a row. We've got 3 in a row, and Dr. West, I know you like to be different than what I pick. I'm going to make things a little bit weird for you this week. I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to steamroll the Jaguars.
Yeah. Hey, man, he already claimed he was going to do that earlier. I feel like he's taking his pick.
You're damn right. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Let's go.
Typical Patriots fans.
That's what I do.
Stuff on the other team.
I still strategically had them available, and I implemented my strategy of letting Wes talk about the Packers while I like them for Survivor. Spygate in full effect here for 2020 Survivor. Jeff, who are you going to roll with? We're going to save Dr. West for last.
I think I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens here.
Baltimore beating up on my Patriots. Now it's personal.
Well,
I had to get you back for doing that to Wes.
Touche. Well played, sir. Well played. Dr. Wes, who you got?
Well, you really took it from me. I guess I'll take the Titans against the Colts. But I don't feel nearly as good about it as I did the Packers, but I'm not going to take your curse with me anymore. I learned week 3.
I mean, so if you look at my pattern now, I got none right, so I week 1 lost. I got 1 right, miss. 2 right, miss. Now I've got 3 right. You might be onto something here, Dr. West. I think this is a miss week for me. I think the Packers may lose this game.
God. That would be really testing the powers of the curse.
Jeff, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this or not, but I have this just insane power to just bring this level of curse upon random things that just don't even make sense, honestly.
Listen, as a Cincinnati sports fan, I'm familiar with curses. So,
Touche.
I can imagine what that's like.
Well played, guys. Well played. Well, Jeff, how was the first video, man? What do you think? You ready to go?
I think I got out some of those early jitters, and now I'm ready to, be an all-pro quarterback. I'll be running this show here shortly, or at least running the leaderboard shortly. I can't take anything away from our gracious host here, but I will be dominating soon enough.
You're now the 2-0 Tuas. You came in, you fulfilled.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you're getting.
I just pulled off an upset against, Kyler Murray. I'm showing I'm the young star here. I'm about to do the same thing to Herbert this week, so everybody will be talking about me come next week.
Let's get it. Hashtag Jeff in the comments if you're now on Team Jeff. It's
Team Jeff all the way.
That'll do it for this week, guys. Just a reminder, please consider hitting that like button on the video if you like our weekly NFL videos. We will be joined by Jeff every week going forward. Looking forward to seeing him next week. And don't forget, leave your picks in the comments, your straight-up picks, to give you a chance at Dr. Wes's Justin Herbert rookie card. You have to beat Dr. Wes. It's not beat Anthony, which is super easy. It's not beat Jeff. It's beat Dr. Wes. Ties, go to Dr. Wes. You got to beat him to get the cards. That easy. Good easy, luck, guys. People. Let's go, y'all. Week 10, we're after it. We'll see y'all in the next video. Take it easy, guys.
Good night and good luck.
Let's go.